Hi, welcome back for another episode in the series known as Neighborhood Photographer. And if you're new to the channel, Neighborhood Photographer is a series dedicated to showing you that great images can be taken in and around your home. Now, a lot of photographers, after a few years, get really tired of shooting in their neighborhood, and they figure, hey, listen, I've gotten everything out of this that I possibly can. But you know something? Nothing could be further from the truth. Now, except for professional photographers who are on the road all of the time, most of us maybe vacation 2 or 4 weeks a year, maybe. And, you know, you get to take great pictures because you're seeing something new and something with fresh eyes, that sort of thing. But what do you do with the other 48 weeks of the year? I mean, that camera just can't sit in the closet all year long. You've got to use it, right? And you want to use it. And I've talked to photographers over the years, and so often I hear things like, well, you know something, I've been shooting in this place for 5 years and there's nothing left. Not true. You could be in a place for 100 years and still get great images. It's just a matter of seeing things with fresh eyes. And that's what neighborhood photography is all about. It's about exploiting what is around you and really making and creating great images. Today, on Neighborhood Photographer, it's creeks and swamps. So for those of you, and I think it's most of us in the world, live with some kind of water around us. So if you've got water around you where you live, you've probably got a few creeks and a few swamps. We're going to take a look at that today. So let's head out to the creeks and the swamps and find out how we can take great images. I've got 8 big tips for you today. Let's go. But before we even get into the 8 tips, I'm going to give you one that is outside of that. And it's a suggestion more than a tip, actually. It's that you should carry a lens focal range of around 24 millimeters to 200 millimeters. And I say that because while you can physically move back and forth for any particular scene, sometimes you're caught, and I'll explain it later on, but sometimes you need to move in closer and you might not be able to actually physically reach where you want to shoot. So it helps to have a focal range that's rather wide. So personally, I go between 16 millimeters and 200 millimeters, but certainly 24 to 200 will be enough. And we'll go into that as we go through. Okay, this shot incorporates my first tip. And tip number 1 is always carry a tripod when you're moving around the creek and when you're moving around the swamps. And the reason for that is because lots of the time you want to get down really low. And if you're really low and you're hand holding, even with some type of image stabilization on your lens, it can be very, very difficult. And the other thing too is that often around creeks and swamps, there's lots of trees. And with that comes less light. And if you want to shoot at an ISO, a nice low ISO for crisp pictures, say ISO 100 or ISO 200, it can cause some really slow shutter speeds. So carry a tripod with you. Tip number 2, try shooting in late afternoon light, like this picture. You can see the story up here. The sun is starting to go down. It's late in the afternoon, and it's causing all kinds of beautiful color to be reflected in this water here. Now look at that. You've got the snow and then the contrasting gold, bronze type color in the water. So that's late afternoon. But you can also use early morning. All right. Now this is well before sunrise. I was here at this swamp at 4 o'clock in the morning, and I shot this around 5 o'clock. And the sun actually, while you can see the brightness up here, it hasn't risen yet. And you get this beautiful, look at the color in here. With the purples and the mauve and all that sort of thing, and you have yellow over here. So you might want to try shooting at the ends of the day when you're in the swamps and the creeks, late afternoon, or in this case, again, early morning. Now this shot also brings up tip number 3. Look for reflections, which is something you always want to do when you're around water. Why not? Again, late afternoon, you get all this warm lighting. You can see the story taking place in this reflection here, though. You know it's an autumn day. You can see the red trees in back. I often like to do that in my photography. Sometimes I don't want to show the whole scene. I'll let some of the scene be shown by using reflections. Late afternoon light. More reflections. Hard to get your eye on this one, isn't it? You've got the, this is where the trunks go into the water, right around here. And all the rest of it is reflections. And again, you get the story of what's going on. It's an autumn day. You can tell by the leaves, these red leaves on the trees. This time I wanted to show more of the story. Reflections again. But sometimes you want to look at something else besides reflections, or maybe even include reflections with that other thing. And that's the wildlife that may be happening in your area. In this case, we see a mallard duck. You have all the reflections, you have all of this going on, and now you have some of the local wildlife swimming in. Or how about this mallard duck? He's trying to get the attention of these two females over here with not too much success from the look of it, but he's trying hard as he's putting on his display and moving across the water. Beautiful creature. Now in our area, we haven't seen these kinds of ducks before, but they're here now. Wood ducks. And look at the beautiful coloration on this creature. So keep your eyes peeled for the wildlife. I've seen lots of things like turtles and frogs, all sorts of things, and they can be quite beautiful, especially if you get up close. And that's why here you do need a 200 millimeter lens. That's what I was using for this one and for this one. I was trying. That's as far as I could have used 400 millimeters. Trust me, but it turned out to be good enough. But that's why you want a wide range. How about contrasting colors? You've got all this white snow, but even on these days, you can look at the color in here. You've got the yellow going into the green, into the aqua, gold. So be looking for that too. All this white snow, but look at the color. Look how that adds to it. And that can sometimes be found in these creeks. And this one was shot, I believe, at about 24 millimeters with an aperture of f/16 for maximum depth of field. But while I wanted to show most of the creek here with this branch going across for a little bit of dynamic tension, you can also set your focal length a little closer. And that's why I was suggesting, see, I was standing on a bridge here that was going over this creek, and I really couldn't access it. It was private property on this side, private property over here. This creek was running through someone's property. So I'm on the bridge, and the best I can do is change my focal length. So I moved in closer at 200 millimeters and got this. So less of the creek, although you can see it going off down here, but I just wanted to look at this, the ice, the different color that it's gone to here. So there's different ways of approaching that. Look for contrasting colors. Again, contrasting colors. You know something that really works well in photography? You probably already know this, but I'll share it with those of you who maybe aren't too familiar with it. Cool colors and warm colors. Cool tones, warm tones, right up against each other. Look at that cool blue, very thin ice that's going on here. And then you get these grasses that have been trodden down, not trodden down so much, but they're flattened by the snow, but they're warm. Look, and you have that late afternoon light, and they're warm. You get the warm tones and the cool tones. But now this is a wide angle shot. Again, this is shot at 16 millimeters. You get this whole range, and you get this sweep of the creek right here. But how about moving in closer? So 200 millimeters gets me to an area right around here, and I moved over to around here, and I shot over here. Look at the difference. Again, very, very cool and very, very warm tones. And look at the ice. And you can see the ripples in it, and so on and so forth. And the snow, a little bit of snow remaining here, and the warm tones and the grasses. Different ways of approaching things. Shadows. This is not an optimum condition to be shooting in. This is, a spring day. There's no foliage. There's nothing going on here. The sunlight is rather harsh. Not my favorite time of day to be, or kind of condition to be shooting in. But I tried to use it to my advantage. And I was looking at what attracted me to this was, the colors in the creek. Some from the sky, others just from minerals and so on that are going on in the creek. but it was the shadows that were coming across that also attracted me as well. Same thing here, shadows. And look at the shape. Look at the shape and the shadows. Now, this shot brings up tip number 7, which is hunt and be aware. I'm showing you this shot for a couple of reasons. One, look at the tripod on my bike. Remember? Tip number 1, carry a tripod. There it is. But what I'm really trying to show you is that, again, a spring day, nothing very attractive about this scene. It's, in fact, you can see some garbage here. It's very dirty. Nothing's been cleaned up. Winter has just kind of ended. There was lots of snow on these dried grasses, and it had flattened them all down. And just in back of me and up above was an overpass with loud cars and trucks. The whole thing was just not conducive to taking photos, but actually it was. I stopped here and I looked at this, and what attracted me, of course, again, was the creek. And we have this bright sunny day, again, not optimum conditions for photography, at least not for the kind of photography that I was trying to do. But again, I'm looking at the reflections in the water. I'm seeing the color coming in from the sky, and I thought, hey, there might be something here. So I moved a little closer. I actually climbed over this guardrail a little bit, changed my focal length to around 30 millimeters. It was around that, and it started to come together for me. Again, the color and even the texture, and that attracted me. And I thought, I'm going to go even a little bit closer. So I brought my focal length to around 120 millimeters. And now you see the grasses that have really flattened. You see the texture. And now you see, again, that's the story. You know what's going on. You know what kind of a day you have because you're seeing the sky in the creek. Hunt and be aware, tip number 7. And tip number 8, our final tip for today in creeks and swamps, is be aware of the atmosphere. Now, often in the morning, you may have foggy conditions, and if you do, and you're around water, it can be quite beautiful. Head out and see what you can capture down at your local creeks and swamps. I'm Ray Scott, and until next time, remember, it's not what you see, it's how you see it. And I'll see you soon.